Hey everyone, how is it going? I am so excited to launch the first episode of the Creator Chat series today. Usually, the series is going to be on Sundays. Can you all confirm that you can hear me fine? Is the audio good? You all can hear me? If you can let me know in the chat, that'd be awesome. Hey, Acres. Hi. Okay, so I'm assuming since no one's saying anything, you can hear me. So I just want to share how excited I am about this. This is the first episode of the Creator Chat series, and I developed the series and really tried to put it together so that we could chat about ideas and topics that are relevant to the community, really learn about our community members, and learn from each other about what we're good at and what we can look to improve. I'm really happy that today we are able to launch the series on Small Business Saturday. So in the US, it's Small Business Saturday today. It's a special day to celebrate small businesses, a lot of which are run by makers and crafters and creators such as yourselves. And even though I plan on really having this series on Sundays at 7 p.m. Eastern, I wanted to make an exception for today. So I know you all are excited and looking forward to our first guest. Our first guest for the first episode is the one and only Calamity Cat. I know that a lot of you are familiar with her already, but she describes herself as a marketing executive turned DIY connoisseur. So let me go ahead and get her over here into the chat. Let us see. There we go. Okay. Oh, I can fix this. Okay, there we go. And here we have Calamity Cat. Calamity, thank you so much for being the guest on the first episode of the Creator Chat series. I think everyone's really excited to see the energy that you bring and learn more about you and learn from you too.
I'm super excited to be here, so thanks for asking me.
Yes, of course. So basically, I just wanted to start off the chat with us learning more about you, about your background, and then you can kind of take things into what made you decide to join Twitch and become a streamer. So wherever you want to start for that. Well, what was your pre-Twitch life like?
So hi everyone. If you guys don't know who I am,
you're living under a rock.
I've been on Twitch for about a year now. I just celebrated my year anniversary on Twitch. My background is very corporate, and I think I've said that many times on many streams, is that I come from corporate America, and I was in corporate America for a good 20 years, and then decided 3 years ago that I wanted a little bit of a change. Need to up Calamity's volume a little bit. Really? Of all the things, I never thought my volume would be needed to be upped.
You all got it. Let me see how to do that. Okay, that should be better. Thanks for letting me know. And yes, if there's anything that I can do to improve the stream, definitely let me know.
So yeah, I have a very somewhat traditional, somewhat eclectic corporate background that led me, everything that I've done, I feel has led me to where I'm sitting today, which might sound crazy, might sound ridiculous, but it all seems to make sense to me in my head. And I think that a lot of the things that I've picked up in the years is helping me to be a better streamer, and especially a better makers and crafters streamer. So it's definitely been a great learning experience for me, but I'm glad I'm able to use a lot of the skills and things that I've learned in the past for what we do today.
That's fantastic. And how did you decide the type of streaming that you wanted to do?
So if you're talking about the topic, like makers and crafters versus gaming, hands down, I have been, for as long as I can remember, making something, doing something, creating something, DIYing everything that I could. So it just, that's where my center I felt always was. And so it it was a no-brainer for me when it came down to, hey, what is it that you would like to stream about, or to it had to do around making something, creating something, and whether that is like a physical thing, or whether it is, sometimes it could just be a concept or something creative that is a concept. So I just knew that for sure, no doubt.
Well, that's great that it was so clear for you what you wanted to share with everyone. And I think I'm just going to go with, I saw Calamity's resume. And I think I want to start with some of those things, some of the questions and things that interested me based on that. And then we can kind of go to what we can learn that's relevant to streaming. But number one.
Business calamity.
Business calamity, part one, business calamity. So, can you tell me about your Guinness World Record? What is it? How did you get it? Everything, yeah.
Some of you guys might not know. I do hold the Guinness World Records for the largest slot tournament ever produced in a single day. And business calamity. Yeah, I see that. So what the whole challenge was, we partnered with a casino out in Washington State, Muckleshoot. If anyone is out there knows what that casino is. And we, in an 8-hour period, ran through, I think it was about 3,300 individual players through our tournament system.
That's amazing. So it's the record for the number of people. Do you have a video of this?
We were able to, actually I do, but I'll be honest, I should have had that ready. I don't know where I put it.
Oh no, you're fine.
But I do have a video, actually.
For future
I have a video
viewing.
on almost everything I've ever done.
Okay, for future viewing.
Kind of crazy.
That is awesome.
Pixar didn't have it.
Pretty much. And something else that I saw is that you are a patent holder. Is that correct?
I am a what?
A patent? Like you have a United States patent from the Patent and Trademark
I do.
Office?
I have 2 patents. Yes,
That's
I am
amazing.
a patent holder. I have 2 patents. They're both marketing patents. Those 2 I'm super proud of, especially one of them. The one that is for what's called Tournament of Champions. I created that concept and that idea based on, I don't know if anyone here, I'm sure you all know, the World Series of Poker. I used to be a huge Texas Hold'em player back in the day. And fascinated with that whole thing. I used to stay up at night from like midnight until 5 in the morning, get a couple hours of sleep, and then go to work at 9 in the morning. And I was obsessed with it. But for me, what it was particularly was always wanting to win a bracelet. That's the whole thing about the World Series of Pokers. They had a number of different, types of poker you could do, but mine was Texas Hold'em. And the ultimate champion would always go home with what's called the bracelet. And I mean, of course, then millions and millions of dollars. But it
the
was
bracelet.
the concept of being the best, right? Being the best at something. So when I was working on this product that we have, and it was a slot tournament product, what the whole purpose of it is a community game. You get a group of people together, you compete on a set of slot machines for a set number of time, and then you just bang the button. And then you also like pop balloons, or you pop different things on the screen.
That's
so
fun.
it's it's an interactive game. And it was our premier product for the company that I worked for. We had the #1 total installations across the country, actually across the world. And it's really the Trojan horse that got us into a lot of casinos to sell a lot of our other products. It got to a point, though, during the life cycle of that product, that we were saturated. We were saturated in the market. You could only sell so many more of these tournament systems to these casinos before it became, why am I buying a third system?
Sure.
There is no reason why I would. So the problem, the business problem we had to solve was, how do we better create, whether it is a campaign, whether it is another product, whether it is another process that helps the casino better use our machines, and to potentially provide to them another level of service that they didn't think that they needed. So at that time, I was just a product manager for my company. This was the very beginning time, and they came to me and they gave me this problem. Mm-hmm. So I came back to them and I said, "Give me $25,000 for a grand prize, a total budget of about $125,000 for the program. Give me 6 months, and let me tackle a state. Give me one of the states that we have the biggest installations in, which at that time was California." What I decided to do was, we built a campaign based around the feeling of being the ultimate winner, the ultimate champion. We went to every single casino that participated. We charged them a buy-in fee to be a part of this competition. Created a whole promotional giveaway time period that happened anywhere between 3 to 6 months prior to what we called an in-casino championship. And during that time, casinos would give out entries to players that would qualify into this final event at their casino. We then visited every casino, had all these great, basically gave to them this big event. And then from there, we collected a winner that represented that casino at the championship that we had in Las Vegas. So some of the videos that you guys might have seen was that championship event that was put on. So in the first 6 months that they gave me this program, I was able to sign up about, I want to say 15 casinos that decided, hey, we'll give you a try. We'll give you a chance. We've already paid for this product. We're going to pay you another promotional product marketing fee to execute on this. And then we will have, a championship, right? That we give away. The top prize was $25,000. Mm-hmm. After the first 6 months that we just went immediately between 100 to 150 casinos. From there, basically, was able to annually put on this great event at the Excess nightclub to give away, anywhere between $1 to $1.2 million.
Wow.
And we had a great time. So that's kind of my big background of what I did for the last company that I worked at, outside of being also a radio DJ and working on magazines and things like that.
That's awesome. And you mentioned something that I want to touch on briefly, but it was effectively how coming up with the idea for your patent was based on a change in the business environment. And I think that brings us to maybe our first branding or marketing topic that I don't have on our list, so I hope you don't mind me coming up with it spur of the moment, but without getting into the drama surrounding it, Twitch is allowing some people to purchase affiliate status.
Sure.
So what I see affiliate status as having is showing the hard work that you've put into a channel, showing that you've been able to grow your viewership, to provide good content. Is this something that streamers who are affiliates should be worried about, or do you think that maybe the focus should be elsewhere?
I will say that I totally understand the frustration that this could bring. What I will say is, what I think is more that the failure is how they communicated this and how they rolled this out alongside a number of other things that I see Twitch as a business has some shortcomings on. And I feel like a lot of businesses do. Is the part that gets them tripped up is the communication. How do you communicate effectively about the changes that you have, maybe the shifts in the business plan that you are putting out there to what people are used to, and then getting the buy-in understanding that what that means, and understanding how it affects the majority of folks that you're making this change for. So I will say that I think that's what is most disappointing to me, in terms of the actual, a lot of people are saying, well, it took me a long time to get to that affiliate and now you could just buy it. I get that. I definitely, I think that is sucky. But I think that I would definitely, like you said, put my energies and efforts into other things. Affiliate is just one very small step in what it is that you are doing if you plan on making whatever it is that you are streaming on Twitch, whatever it is that you plan to or want to get out of it. Affiliate is just a very small step in that.
Right.
And from there, how do you build from that? So if we could just get, understand that, yes, that sucked, but it happened. It's now another opportunity for other folks. Great. But it's what you do with it, right afterwards.
And Laser Geek,
more valuable.
Absolutely. And I agree that it's definitely a step towards the ultimate goal of whatever you want to do with your channel. And Laser Geek mentioned that the idea has been completely removed, that people can't buy affiliate status anymore. That's something I wasn't aware of, but I'm glad about that because, like I said, it's a signal that this is someone who is putting in the effort towards their channel. But it's also showing Twitch, which it's nice to see that Twitch is being receptive to things like that and really, I guess, adapting to what the market environment requires and what their, I guess, what you call as consumers, their users, whatever you want to call streamers in general, are what they really care about.
I totally agree. I just wish they could have saved themselves a lot of headache if they just maybe paused on going live on that for just a second.
I agree with you completely.
So, I'm glad that they did that. Like, they did decide, no, that never happened. That was never part of the deal. Well, yeah, it was. But again, it's all in how you manage that message. Because now you set that out with Monster Cat. Then there was so much backlash that you said, oh, no, that's not what we meant in part of the program. Don't call me dumb. What I read was exactly what it is that you said. To say that that's not what we meant is to say that we didn't understand exactly what it is that you put out there. So there's a lot of ways I would have handled that differently. But I am appreciative that they are listening, and that but why do the pitchforks have to come out for that to happen, right? Like, I think that there's a lot of things that could have been mitigated well before that decision was made. I just don't think that sometimes there's enough thought that goes behind the repercussions when you make a decision like that to the community. So I think that's where they're lacking a lot of times, is what I see.
Definitely. And I definitely agree with that. And to me, it's a rare opportunity, a rare moment when such a big platform is so receptive to the response by its users. I think that we can learn a lot from that on a smaller scale, where we're growing our channel, we're making decisions about getting into marketing and branding now, how we want to be viewed on the channel. So do you have any advice for viewers, people in the chat, about what they can do to really get an outside look in and be a little more objective about their channel and looking to grow?
Sure, absolutely. I think, first off, I think a lot of people, a lot of us, we need to decide, like, what is it that we're trying to get out of this whole adventure, right? What we call streaming, what do we call Twitch? Is it, you need to know that. Like, what is the core reasons, or what's going to be successful in your mind when it comes to why you're streaming on Twitch, why you're putting the effort into it? And I think there's a variety of different goals and reasons for everyone. So I would say, for sure, if you don't have that, then you will always you'll make too many changes, which I feel is what happened here with Twitch. Is that I sometimes I feel like they don't have a core goal of what it is that they want to accomplish as a business for their platform sometimes, because that's what it feels like, some of the decisions that are thrown out. So how I would say that in a very granular form for every streamer is, what is it that you're trying to get out of your channel? Is it that you just want to have a good time and you really truly enjoy just the chatting and the community and showing your process? Then awesome. That is definitely different than if someone that is looking to build this as a stepping stone to maybe growing their YouTube channel, growing their Etsy page, growing their what is a dream of just streaming a couple of DIY projects to a full-fledged business, a full like I'm going to be doing and selling things to the Etsy platform, to trade shows, things like that. Is for me number one. What is it that you want to get out of it? And then from there, decide what are all the things that you want to do to get to that point. And then also understand that your milestones of what you meet is going to be very different than if you look at a similar channel that you think is the same, but they may be doing things a little different. Well, is it because you are looking to grow exponentially because you're trying to build towards a platform that you can use for a business sense? Well, then what I'm doing is a lot different than if someone else was just, hey, I have a full-time job and I'm just looking to really build a community where I feel good, and I'm going to sign in, a set number of days throughout the week, and I'm going to do what I do and have a great time, right?
Right.
So that for me is, I see a lot of folks that I chat with that are conflicted about that, that they spread themselves way too thin, and they have themselves in so many different platforms or so many different areas, and then there's a little bit of disappointment when maybe one channel is not growing or is not moving along as fast as what you would hope it to. So I think it is a lot of understanding what is it that you're trying to get out of that. And if it is that you are trying to build a brand, an empire, a marketing, whatever that is, then you have to understand that there's a lot of steps and a lot of things that come into play for that, and that you are on a different, you have to look at the analytics in a different way than I would if I was just, wanting to have a community, which I'll be honest, that is absolutely as good as wanting to build another business or build something out of that. So that's I think that I've had a lot of good conversations with some amazing streamers and offline, and I think that's where first and foremost I would tell you, what are your goals? Like, be realistic about your goals. Don't just say that you want, I want to hit 1,000 followers and I want an average view count of 75 people. Okay, those could be absolutely great goals, but why do you want that? Do you want that because you're shooting for a certain, like, what is behind that? And then from there figure out, does that make sense? Do those goals that you are putting out there, does that make sense into your overall plan of what it is that you want to accomplish?
Definitely. And I think that there's a lot of fear when it comes to trying something new, when it comes to streaming and really wanting that success. I think a lot of people really hedge their expectations by saying things like, I'm just going to have fun with it, see where it goes. But if you want this to be successful as a business, as something that could make you money, I strongly believe that you need to plan for that and educate yourself on what it really takes. And I know for me, I look at other channels to see what I like, what I could take to my channel, what resonates with me. I also do a lot of self-education, even just YouTube videos, other streamers who share this type of content to see, okay, what is a realistic goal for growth and how can I get there? What do I need to be doing? And just be realistic with yourself. And it takes a lot of work. It takes time to really learn what you want to do. And like you said, you really need to know what your goal is. And for me, one thing I like to do is visually plan that out. Really take a moment and be honest with myself. If things went great, if things went perfectly, where would I end up? And that's going to help you with the steps there. If you fall a little short, you give yourself that wiggle room, but you're also giving yourself a moment to really prepare for what success you could really have. And you don't need to be an obstacle in the way of your own growth and success for what you're looking for when it comes to streaming, crafting in general. If you're not a streamer, just growing your business, having an Etsy shop with what you can do there. Just don't put yourself down. You're capable of a lot of great things, and you should have that confidence in yourself.
Absolutely. I also think you should have some honesty with yourself as well. I'm not, just to be devil's advocate, but a lot of times,
Sure.
I think there is a lot of honesty that you do have to tell yourself that I cannot be on all of these platforms and successfully move the goalposts on every single one.
Absolutely.
That a lot of times you have to kind of cut, figure out which one right now is what I want to juggle. Otherwise, if you spread yourself out too thin, nothing is going to move forward. And I think a lot of people, I think that's the hardest part, is to be honest with yourself. And another thing is, and I've asked myself this, and I think I've mentioned this on my stream a lot, is that I question a lot of the decisions I make, in terms of, do I continue to do this streaming full time? Do I cut back and potentially do more of a part time, and I can focus more on my real life things that I'm working there, because I want to make sure that I'm putting forth the energy, the time into the right areas, and so I always have check-ins with myself every month that says, where are you at? Looking at all my stats, looking at where I was the month before, 3 months before, and then comparing to where I am today, what I expect to be, if I'm moving towards the goal that I want in the next month, in the next 3 months, in the next 6 months, and then figuring out from there, because it could be that Twitch is not the platform for me. It could be that after a year I realize that I'm probably better off doing videos on YouTube and building an audience there. And then a lot of times people say, well, you could do both. Sure. But what I have found is that is a lot of work. And YouTube content is very different than Twitch content. You can try to, but again, I think you are spreading yourself out, and you're not giving yourself the best opportunity for success. So that's where I think a lot of people need to just kind of be always being honest with yourself, and then being okay with making kind of a shift in that. If it is that this is not, maybe the streaming is not what I want to do, and that's not where my main energy should go. Maybe I cut that down, but I really focus on my YouTube content, or I really focus on X, Y, or Z. I think that's the toughest thing to be honest about.
Right. And I think this conversation is turning into a really good back and forth between optimism, but really being realistic about what you're trying to achieve. I'm the kind of person where I'll plan things out to an extent that it's not realistic, but I understand that things will not go exactly as I've planned out. But it gives me some direction to go in, which I really like, which personally I like having. Not everyone needs that, but I do like having some sort of guiding arrow, I guess, in what I'm trying to do. And Scooby wants to know how 2020 and the pandemic has affected the check-ins that you've done with yourself, and if what you're doing would change if you were able to go out a little bit more and do things that way.
That's a great question. My entire business changed the moment 2020 hit. I will say that my business plan at the beginning of this year is a lot different than my business plan today. And although it's only been, 11 months going into 12 months, it's only been a year. What I envisioned for myself, or at least the plan that I had, was based around events, based around parties, and providing this service to people that gathered. So you can imagine that when COVID hit, and now gatherings of 4 or more is pretty much not a thing, that kind of shifted a lot of the things that I thought was going to be the direction that I was going with the company that I wanted to build. So in that moment, I found an opportunity, or I found maybe it was something that just happened to be, or it was meant to be.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of these nonprofits started coming up, and I realized, I think I've always wanted to do that. I just never thought that it would be this soon that I would. So that kind of changed my perspective a little bit, and so I made that shift to be more involved in a lot of the nonprofits that I've always wanted to work with, or that just being able to give back,
Mm-hmm.
and then figuring out how that worked into how my streaming, how that could all kind of mesh together. So absolutely, COVID changed a lot of the direction that I thought I was going, and I actually, I think for the good. I think for the better.
Well, I'm definitely glad to hear that it feels like it's for the better for you. And that demonstrated a lot of flexibility on your part, I would say, in really adjusting what you were planning on doing with the environment that we're dealing with now. And it
Right.
reminds me of how there's a lot of different advice on changing things that you do in your channel just generally, trying new
Yep.
things, how often to try new things. Do you have any advice on that kind of flexibility, whether it should be that you try something new and if it doesn't work, it doesn't work, or should there be a limit to how much you change?
So I think this is going to come. Okay, so there's a couple of ways that I attack this.
Mm-hmm.
Whether that is, what you do has anything to do with your own brand, or how you want to market your channel and yourself to
Mm-hmm.
that. And then another way that I also like to look at that is it's also rules around how you present yourself to others in terms of your availability. What I have learned through this entire streaming process, specifically to Twitch, is consistency.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't matter what it is that I am doing on the stream necessarily. It doesn't matter that, that I am uh, a paper crafter or a vinyl crafter or a mask maker. Keep the jokes, y'all. Calm down the jokes. And when I used to be a mask maker, but things like that what I learned is the consistency. If you want to build a community and build something where people know that they can rely on,
Mm-hmm.
you have to be good about, these are the schedules that I'm sticking to, these are the times that I will be available, and really stick to that. So for me, I think the biggest thing I learned was that one piece, um, because now it took almost a year for people to realize that I stream Monday through Friday. For the longest time, no one had an idea, even though I was on every day.
Mm-hmm.
But it's building that consistency. So I will say that that piece of it, if I can give any advice to anyone, it doesn't matter if you stream every day, it doesn't matter if you stream, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I don't care. Be consistent. And make sure that you are consistently telling that to people.
Mm-hmm.
And as little as that may sound, it's the biggest advice that I ever took from a big gaming streamer that I watched when he was very little and became now one of the largest Twitch streamers on the platform. Is that one piece is consistency.
Mm-hmm.
It really doesn't matter what it is that you're doing, as long as you're having a good time and as long as the people like you, they're going to come to you,
Mm-hmm.
whether it is that you are making a card, making a mask, or even playing a game.
That's really helpful. And I realized we've been live for a little over 45 minutes and we haven't really defined what we mean when we say branding and marketing. So, how would you define those terms when it comes to streamers? What does it mean to brand yourself in your channel, and what does it mean to market yourself?
Right. And I think this is, for me, I can talk about this all day, y'all. This is like there are a lot of things that I greatly enjoy, and that I can pontificate upon, is this. Because I think a lot of times what I always joked about in my career is everyone thinks they're a marketer. Everyone thinks that they could do exactly what a marketing person can do. And there are a lot of things that are pretty
Mm-hmm.
easy to understand, some concepts about what it is to market a product, what it is to market a company. But really, marketing is in everything. The one thing that I could say, and biggest advice for me to you guys is, a lot of people forget that they are marketing what it is that they do,
Mm-hmm.
right? They market whether that it is a dragon egg that Sasaki makes, whether that is some custom laser etched earrings or necklaces that Twenty makes, whether that, whatever that is, you market that product, right? There's the marketing that goes there.
Mm-hmm.
For me, what people miss out on is the marketing of the person or the entity behind who makes it, because that is just as important. And if you don't believe that that is, then I can give you a plethora of examples about brands, about products, about people that will, the loyalty to a brand or a product is huge. And if you don't build that, if you don't give them the baseline of what it is that you are, who you are in this product that you're building, they'll buy that one piece from you. Maybe, they'll come back and maybe buy a couple of things, but I want you to buy me. I want you to buy into what it is that I'm selling.
Mm-hmm.
So whatever it is that I put in front of you, you buy it, right? You want that. So that is so important, that I think a lot of people forget about, is the branding and the marketing you put into yourself,
Mm-hmm.
and how that comes across. Yes, the product you make is important. Absolutely. Yes, you put out a quality product. But if you want to win, if you want to build something where you have this built-in kind of equity with folks, that's when it comes into building you. So what
Mm-hmm.
is that to you, right? And that is like a whole in-depth analysis and understanding you need to know about yourself, and that maybe someone else can help to bring out as well. But for me, marketing has many different ways. You can market a product, a company, a person. So what
Absolutely.
is it? And it's all different depending on how that is. But I like to focus specifically when it comes to Twitch, is the person, is your channel, because that's who you are, right? I may come to you initially because I think what you're doing is cool, and
Mm-hmm.
I have a common, kind of interest in that. But in the end, I come back and I stay because of the person that's making whatever it is that you're making. That's what brings me back. So think about that, what that means, and that is just as important as
Mm-hmm.
what it is that you put, your product that you put out there.
Right. And I see it as building a reputation for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
What do you want?
Right.
If a viewer were to describe you to someone new, to explain why they should watch you, why they should buy your products, why they should engage with you in any way, that would be your brand. And to me, I know some people
Right.
say think of 3 words to describe your brand, and that's what you go
Right.
for. But
Sure.
I don't know if you need to be like that technical about it. What do you think?
I don't either, because what I will say is that a lot of brands also, they evolve, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like if you look at the initial, when I take anything, let's say Netflix, when they first came out, right? They had different business goals and processes, a different logo, they were looking more, not specifically on building their own content, but
Mm-hmm.
over the years, that has now become huge. Netflix is now a huge production house.
It is.
So, I think that you have to be able to evolve with it is what it is that your brand is, your marketing is. So I don't want to say that, yeah, let's write it down into 3 words, but
Mm-hmm.
I'm also going to say it can't be everything under the sun. It cannot be that you are everything to everyone, because you are not. You are not. Because I've
This
said
is
this
true.
before. Some people may not like what I put out there, and that is totally fine, because that's why there's so many people in the directorate. Just like all sorts of types of music, all sorts of different types of shows. I'm not going to watch every single one, because that may not be what I'm into.
Definitely.
So don't, yes, so I think that a lot of people, maybe they try a little too hard to be everything, or to try too hard to to change what it is that their core is, hoping that they can get a bigger, maybe a bigger audience or whatever that is. I think in the end, you fail yourself, and you fail the people that are there watching you, because is that who or what you want to do, or is that who you want to evolve to? Those are I don't know, but I think it's better to be pretty solid in what it is that you are, who you are, and what you want to do, and kind of stick to that as your your rallying cry, right?
Yes.
So yeah, I struggle with that too, because a lot of times it's easy to want to please, to want to be more generally liked by all. So I think that there's a fine line that you kind of ride with that.
Right. And Bethany asked in the chat, what if you aren't selling anything? I just stream to keep myself busy. And to me, I think the same thing applies. If you just want to have fun with it and stream and do your thing, then don't worry about it. But if you want to grow your audience, if you want to grow your community, that branding and consistency, in my opinion, can still help you with that, even if you're not selling anything. What do you think?
Absolutely. I absolutely agree, because again, Bethany, I think that comes down to one of the first points I made is what are the goals that you have for your stream? If it is that you are, you're not trying to sell anything, you just want to make some cool shit and you want to hang out with some cool people, and you that brings you joy, awesome, amazing. Then from there, that those are the things you want to do, and then you could build your stream and everything that you do around that. Build a schedule that's consistent to that. And then, people know that every time I go check out Bethany, that, it could be she could be doing a number of things, but really she's making something cool, and I just want to hang out and, have a good conversation and be part of that community. It doesn't have to be that you're selling, because for me, you don't have to sell anything. The one thing you have to sell, though, is you. Why am I going to give you my time? Why am I going to be lurking so hard on your channel? Like that is what I ask of all of you. Like, what I am buying into you. I may have gotten there because of something cool that you did, but in the end, I am going to purchase whatever it is that you are, and what is that, and then understanding that I continually pay monthly to be a part of that, right? Potentially, right? That there is not just, and I'm not saying money monetarily, I'm just saying pay with my time, because time is even more important or more valuable to me than money. So if I can build a group of folks that like hanging out with me, for me that time is so invaluable, because you've decided that in this day, this amount of time that you're sitting here with me, you thought that was worth it, and that to me is worth way more than a check that you could write to me. So think about it that way. At least that's how I think about it when it comes to what I'm trying to build in my channel.
Definitely. And one thing I want to make sure that I at least reiterate is that when we talk about a brand, it's not creating some personality or idea of who you want to be and forcing it. Really, you can ask your friends, you can ask your family, you can look at your own videos if you want to do that. I don't want to do that. But you can think about what is unique to you, what brings people to your channel, what draws people to you,
right? And
really be confident in that characteristic that you have about yourself. You don't need to become a whole different person to become the streamer that you think you should be or what you think will be popular.
Right, unless you want to be.
Unless you want to be.
That is, if you go into it with a goal that's what you want. Like let's say, for example, Dr. Disrespect. Maybe that is his real persona 24/7. But I don't know that he just has been that persona his entire life. But let's just say like that, unless that's what you want to do, then build it. That's the goal, right? Be towards that. Then you cannot, you don't move from that. Be consistent in that. But yeah, you're right. I don't ever change yourself just because you feel like that's the only way to be successful. Because again, my success is a lot different than your success. So what is it that's successful for you?
Absolutely.
You have to be. That's the question you can answer for yourself. I can't. We can't answer for you.
Yes, and that's some of it really takes some introspection to see what is, like Calamity said in the beginning, what do you want out of what you're doing?
Mm-hmm.
What are your goals and what do you want to exude on stream? So once you know that, people can help you kind of reach that goal of where you're going.
Right.
So when someone is doing visual branding, we're talking about the personality, the consistency. When it
Yep.
comes to visual branding, what are some things that are important to keep in mind?
I will say the one thing I always like for the streamers that I've had offline talks about in terms of them building out their channel or building out a business that's connected to their Twitch streaming. I'm gonna really try to hammer home this message is consistency. Okay, and that what I mean by that is as simple as the same name, the same brand name across all platforms. So as simple as, hey, Calamity underscore underscore cat or Calamity cat, whatever that is, across Twitter, across YouTube, across Instagram, across Facebook, across Twitch, whatever that is you. That is you are now building that username, that brand, that goes into the name of what it is that what you're putting out there. So be very consistent in that. Because, and even when it comes down to the granular of Discord, because eventually, if you want to communicate with other people and in other Discords, you want them to know that is you every time, that you're making that connection with them. And who is this that you're making a connection with? It's Calamity. Everywhere I know that's who it is. So I think that for me is one of the very small things that I would say makes a big impact. Because if you ever do plan on doing, building out to an Etsy, building out to any kind of business or selling anything, that helps a big deal.
Absolutely.
Is to have that consistency.
The consistency with the usernames, and sometimes usernames are taken. So for me, my username was taken for some of the social media platforms, so I added the underscore so that it's close enough. But people can find me. My profile picture is the same on everything. Any other images will have the same sort of color scheme, theme, different versions, banner versions, things like that. And that way people know who they're talking to. They know that it's you.
Yep. It's because you're building again. That name becomes your brand, right? And I think you said visually also, like what and what I take from that is potentially your logo or any images that you put out there, things like that. I come from a corporate background, so for me, logo is very important when it's built in with your name, but that's not needed for everyone, right? Like if you are a casual streamer that you have a good time and you want to be on Twitch because you're doing something cool and you hang out with cool people, you don't necessarily need to have a logo or an emblem or an icon. But if it is something that you want to build out a little bit more, that potentially you want kind of to do some videos on YouTube, grow that community, and then you want to get your social media, add some juice over there and get some follows there, then I think I would definitely say it might be worthy of putting together some sort of icon, some sort of logo that is also connected with your username, your brand, your name, whatever that is. So again, down to what goals you have. For me, there was no doubt. I had to have a logo. I had to have like that because I was building a business. And then part of that business was building my brand, right?
Agree completely. And in the chat, Stray asked us if there are any books that you or I would recommend. And for me, I can't think of any off the top of my head that I have read recently, but I actually ordered a book today. I'm going to look it up based on a YouTube video I watched. I really like watching videos about people have those how to grow from 0 to 25 streamers in X amount of time.
Right.
And I love watching those, but I take the advice with a grain of salt, of course. Because I think there are some gems in videos like that, but not everything will apply to everyone. But today, I was watching a Devin Nash video, and he recommended The Thank You Economy by Gary Vaynerchuk. And I ordered that. I'm excited to read it. That's my next read when it comes to something related to Twitch and creativity and growing that community. What about you?
Man, there's I will say, God, I'm not gonna lie, it's been a while since I've had time to read a book. I've read a number of ones back in the day and a lot of things that I read were about, leadership and management, and there's one book I will say, it's not specific to marketing or branding, right? It's specific to how you present yourself, and what is important when it comes to whether it is if you're like in the public facing role, or whether you are in an environment where you need to present yourself in a certain way. I thought it was a very short read, but I thought it was fascinating. It's called Stand Like Lincoln, Speak Like Churchill.
I'm going to write that down.
And the whole purpose of it was to talk about these great speakers and historical figures in our lifetime that made a great impact in what it was that they did, but how did they do it? In terms of physically, the way that they talked, physically, and how they put themselves in front of others. So what was fascinating to me is, like, for example, Abraham Lincoln. He always had that was it stovepipe?
I think so.
Or stovetop.
One of those.
Stovetop hat. He always had that jacket. So there was very distinct things that were, that anytime you saw, you knew that was Lincoln's look. Same thing with Winston Churchill. He always had the pinstripe suit, the cigar, the cane, the hat. So whenever you saw him anywhere, that's how he projected himself. One of the greatest examples that I got that I loved in that was Margaret Thatcher. And she was in a role that was very powerful, and worked with a lot of different male or men or strong personalities. She always had a handbag, and I believe it was either a handbag or a hat that she always left behind in any room that she was either, maybe she left for a minute, whatever that was, but you knew that Margaret Thatcher was there, that she was very specific about certain things like that, whether it was just this impression that she put upon a meeting. Before she even started the meeting, you knew that she was already there. And the book explains it a lot better, but for me, I always took that, again, back to your own personal brand, how you present yourself, and what lasting impressions you leave on folks. So I always thought it was more of a fun book that I read, but it helped me a lot in throughout my corporate career. And that might explain to you guys why I was so fascinated with eyeglasses, because that was my thing. I always had a different pair of glasses on, but it became a thing with me, right? So that was one of my signature pieces, was my eyeglasses. So anytime I was in a meeting, anytime I was anywhere, I always had a different pair of eyeglasses that either I would wear or whatever. So I thought that was an interesting book. And I've always there were just a couple of cool gems and things that I learned in there that made a lot of sense.
I'm looking forward to reading that book. That's really interesting.
Yeah,
and
it's a fun book.
It's making me think of some of my, I guess, attire choices. I was someone who, in my first year of law school, I would always wear a blazer to class. Not exactly to think, look at me, I'm professional, I'm intelligent, I wear a blazer when I don't have to. But instead more, but I will say that they were made of really stretchy material, those dress pant, yoga pants, basically like that. So they were very comfortable, kind of like a sweatshirt. But to me, when I dressed in a way that made me feel professional, I felt that I focused more, I expressed myself in a more professional way, and that was something I really liked. So that was a choice I made too. And we're talking about aesthetic when it comes to ourselves as individuals, stovepipe hat for Lincoln, things like that, your glasses. When it comes to branding yourself, your stream, your overlay, things like that, how would you recommend someone learns what their aesthetic is and really figure out what consistency they want with that?
So I think with the overlay things like that, I think sure they're I think that is something that comes over time. I don't know if for me, my colors, my brand colors are black and white. Those are my colors. So if you notice, a lot of things I do has a black and white kind of theme. So for me, and if I was consulting you as a business, as a corporation, you must have a brand guide that when you present yourself and when you speak outwardly, you should always follow that. Whether that be the colors that you use, whether that be the certain images that you use, also the tone of voice, the tone, even the words, specific words that are part of your brand and words that are not part of your brand. Like on that granular detail, I would say for a corporation is huge.
Yes.
Like you would never see a Nike or a Target that would go out of their specific colors, right? When you see them, they're very consistent about how they present themselves and how they speak to whatever it is, whether it is an ad or whatever that is. But now when I'm breaking it down to a lot of you folks, is that I don't know if it comes down to like you really need to care that your overlay has to be this or that, right? In the end, I think it's more about the branding or the projection of who you are. That is something that I think is way more important, and that is a little bit more difficult to kind of nail down. But that, in terms of all those other ancillary things, that will come. That will come. I think you build yourself first. What does that mean? Like who are you, and what do you want to be to your Twitch family, right? And if it's the same person that you are every day, awesome. Stick to that. Be consistent with that. Consistency.
Absolutely. And I can speak to my own experience where I watched a lot of streams before I started streaming. I not intentionally, but I guess subconsciously made some notes of what I liked and learned what I didn't like. And then once I had an idea of where I wanted to start, I was able to look up even just like on Pinterest, on Google, just ideas for what people have done and how I would do it differently. And like Calamity said, things change, things evolve, but you give yourself a starting point and you go from there.
Yeah, because that's easy. You can change colors, you can change overlays, you can change that stuff. That stuff comes and and you'll figure it out. But the core of what it is that you bring to the stream every day, that's the part that I think everyone should focus on. Everything else will fall into place.
Definitely. And for me, I started with a lot of video game streams. I was playing, what was I playing? Fall Guys, I was playing Pokemon, probably something else. Breath of the Wild I was failing at miserably, but we all had a wonderful time. And what I learned a lot from watching other streamers who played games like that, but what I really learned was how I wanted to be on stream, which I think is important. Just like Calamity says, you work on yourself first, and I'm able to do crafting streams or video game streams, and even though they might have different audiences, I think that I work to be consistent with what I bring to each stream so that hopefully people want to come to both. But if not, then that's okay too.
Sure. And I think that you also have to be honest with yourself too, is that I see a lot of folks that, that maybe started out as makers and crafters and then want to fold in a couple of days of gaming. You might not see the same results from your cooking and crafting streams to your video game stream. So, but you have to be, you need to be honest with yourself that's okay, because those are you're building a different audience. Not necessarily the same audience that's going to watch you make something is going to watch you play something. So And if you're okay with that and you want to do that, awesome. But don't expect that you're going to see the same statistics once if you change the core of what it is that you're doing inside of your stream. Eventually, the dream would be that no matter what it is you're doing, period, um, people will hang out, like no matter what. So that's the dream, right? That's where that that's awesome.
That's that's I think that's been really helpful to learn. It's just be consistent with yourself and the community will come and then you can nurture that community to help it grow.
Right.
I'd really like to talk about I feel like we've talked about this indirectly, but what are some of the more common marketing or branding mistakes that you see streamers make? And what are some easy ways that streamers can improve their marketing and branding? Or like, where should they
Um,
start, do you think, where most streamers could start?
I mentioned
Excuse
this.
me.
We touched on this already, but it's
Yeah.
your whatever it is that I'm going to call it your corporate name. Mine's Calamity Cat, right? That's my name. Um, Being consistent across the board everywhere with that. And even if I would go as far as even if you are not looking to do anything outside of just streaming a couple of days a week and having a good time, that's awesome. But I even still would say that if you are wanting to nurture your community, build your community a little bit more slowly at a time, that is it would be one of the areas I would say absolutely be the same across everything that you do. So then that way, when if I'm trying to find you, if I am promoting you, if I'm talking to a friend about this cool streamer that I just saw, that it's easy for me to go, it's this person, and it's easy to find them across any of that. So I would say my biggest advice to everyone has always been that is, and I know that that sounds like, well, I mean, but I have built this Instagram following under this name, and now I want to be this name. Okay, well, then cool. Just know that the consistency is where I will ping you on. Is if you don't care about that, if that is not anything that you give a rat's about, okay, that's fine. But if you do care that you want to build this kind of platform that people can find you and know you by, then look at that. That is the easiest thing I could tell you to look at right now. That's super easy to do, and go from there. So I think that maybe I don't know if it's a mistake. I wouldn't call it a mistake. I would just say because maybe that's not something that has ever been that you ever cared about, that you ever thought about. But I would say I think it's beneficial for everyone, whether you are serious about wanting to build something, a revenue stream, is what you might call it on Twitch, or not. I think that's important. Maybe
Yes.
another. I'm trying to think of it. I'm just repeating the same thing, but consistency. If I'm used to, if I'm looking out for you and I want to hang out in your stream, but you were on Monday, Tuesday last week, and now this week you're on Thursday, Friday, and then maybe you decided that one week you didn't want to do it, and then eventually I'm gonna stop looking for you.
I feel a little
I'm
called
gonna
out, not
stop
gonna
going out of my
lie.
way
Not gonna
to
lie.
find out if you're on or not. So yeah, yeah, yeah. So that is another mistake that I will say that I see. I used to be that way too when I first started because I didn't want to commit, right? I didn't want to be like, every day I'm going to be there from this time to this time. I mean, maybe I have some things I need to do. So I was the same way. But the moment that I changed, the moment that I committed to it, is the moment that I saw the incremental improvements that I needed to see. And that was enough for me that I knew that consistency is absolutely key. Um, so yeah, I think that those two are probably the easy fixes that you could do. And maybe your schedule isn't it doesn't work with that, right? Maybe your life schedule doesn't give you the ability to be as consistent, and I get that too. But I'm just saying in general, like look at those kind of things, and I think that could really help.
Right. And I'm one of those
Um,
people who right now my schedule does not allow for the best streaming times, the best streaming consistency. So what I've tried to do is make it work with what I can work with right now, which
mhm.
as I'm sure a lot of you have noticed have been early morning streams for only an hour. But people
Yeah.
know I'll be there for that hour. They can come in, say hi, see what my project will be. Oh wait, for Blue Moon. I have
No,
to
no,
blink
blue.
twice if I'm happy. I think my like regular face is like serious, slightly. I don't know. Maybe it's scary. I don't know. I think it sometimes looks sad, but it's not. It's not a smile, even though I'm happy on the inside. But the consistency. I'm trying to be consistent with what I can do,
Right,
and
right.
when it comes to people who are trying to maybe bring different aspects of their online persona together or trying to create that singular brand, I read on your resume that you helped, and let me know if I'm saying this improperly, but combine two companies into one to have a consistent brand. Is there any takeaways from that you think could translate well to Twitch if someone's trying to bring things from different areas together?
Here's what I would say. So from that experience, I rebranded um, basically two companies with two very different platforms, two very different missions and value
Mm.
statements, two very different corporate structures. One was a financial institution,
Mm-hmm.
one was a gaming software development company. And bringing those two under the same branding umbrella, the same name, um, giving everyone the same rallying cry that they could all be proud of to work for this now financial ATM company that also makes slot machine games.
Okay.
I will say that was not an easy feat. And I don't believe that I can't say that I think that it was successful
Mm-hmm.
because when you take such different entities and also when you think about the folks that worked for the ATM financial company, they're used to a bank type of environment. The folks that worked for the gaming software company worked here out in Austin, and it's like keep Austin weird. So you mesh those two together, and it's not going to be pretty. We tried, we did the best that we could. So I think what I would say from that experience that I learned from is that know what the limitations are. Like
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying that it couldn't, like it's impossible because we did do it. We did do it. I'm just saying that I don't know if I were to do it again, if I would have rebranded under a branded house versus having two distinct brands that spoke to a master, right? And now I'm getting to like technical marketing branding terms.
Right.
But think about let me give you an example of like Johnson and Johnson, right? Johnson and Johnson owns a plethora of companies and brands. The master brand is them. They are Johnson and Johnson. They have their own products as well, but they house a number of other brands and products underneath them. So each brand gets to be their own personality.
Mm-hmm.
Each brand is treated as a separate entity, a separate company that feeds into this master company. So I wish if I were to go back, I think I would probably rebrand the company that way, where I would have two separate brands that fed into a master brand versus forcing both of them to strip their identities, to strip it is what they were and who they are, and to force themselves into the back of the van and say, get along. I want both of you guys to get along and I want both of you guys to be happy about it.
Mm-hmm.
Because in the end, a lot of times each one felt like they were the stepchild, right? That they had to give up so much of themselves to be a part of this new adventure.
Mm-hmm.
So I will say that to think about that, and that if you are kind of meshing or melding something out like that's so uniquely different than what it is that you're trying to put across to Twitch, how do you want to introduce that? Maybe it isn't that you force it under what it is that you're doing. Maybe it is a different, that's a different brand that you're
Mm-hmm.
building, a different entity, a side entity that is fed in, right? So that's that's what I learned from that rebranding experience that we went through, which cost a lot of money.
I can imagine. Very
Yeah.
expensive. And do you see a streamer as being someone, or a craft or creator, however someone wants to define themselves, as being able to have those kind of different branches to their brand that have their own unique identities but are still connected in some way? Or do you think it's maybe
Yeah,
not
I
big
think,
enough?
yeah, I think absolutely. But I
Mm-hmm.
think um, in that instance, I will say you need to focus on one first,
Mm-hmm.
right? Build one versus building a multitude of them and then spreading yourself out where you may lose yourself
Mm-hmm.
in what it is that you're creating. So I will say that I have an adamant rule. I will not be streaming any of my gameplay because I don't believe that what I've done and who I've, my brand specifically has anything to do with that I feel comfortable yet with streaming a game that I'm
Mm-hmm.
playing. I am going to stick like I am dug in with making and crafting. I'll do some special streams on like, you know, food and drink, potentially things like that, but I'm pretty dug in under the making and crafting umbrella for now.
Mm-hmm.
And potentially, I'm not saying never, potentially one day I might stream a Destiny game here or there. But I just don't feel comfortable even where I'm at today that's going to translate well. And I think that that's going to, although I know I'm not going to get the same outcome from doing a game stream, it's still going to maybe mess with my head a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So I would prefer not to even to go down that path until I feel, super comfortable with what it is that I'm doing already under the makers and crafters
Mm-hmm.
umbrella, right? But
Yeah.
that's just me. That's how I look at that as an example.
Mm-hmm. And just looking at the chat, Blapple wanted to know if either of us recommends talking in other channels to people in there. Blapple, I'm
I
guessing that's more of a promotional type thing, building a brand type thing.
you
Calamity, do
know
you want to
what?
go
I am
first?
so glad that Blapple brought that up because one
Mm-hmm.
of the other, if I'm going to list another mistake that I think that I see from others is networking.
Mm-hmm.
Not underestimate the power of networking. Um, and I absolutely believe that. And what I also will say is don't be, don't be in like disingenuous about it. Don't just hang out in a stream because you're trying to grab people for your own stream. What I mean is networking and really wanting to know another person's, another stream, another community. Be a part of that community. Don't go there trying to build your own community. What you are doing is you're going there to help them build theirs.
Mm-hmm.
And the benefits that you reap from that is that eventually that will bring back to you, right? Because you, again, as you're doing that, you're building your brand, what people get to know of you because you are now part of that community and you helped to build that streamer, those people in that chat. So that's how I would look at it. I'm not I there's I'm very specific about that because I have seen those that do network, but
Mm-hmm.
their networking clearly is not for the streamer at hand. It is for whatever it is that they are trying to push on in whether it is completely direct or indirect. So eventually a smart community is going to see through that.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I would absolutely say is network, be interested. Like don't join another stream just because you're not interested at all. Eventually the hope is that you are, right? That but be a part of that community. Be a good member within that community and that's going to help you in the long run for
Mm-hmm.
your own community.
I think this is a really good example of the phrase "a rising tide raises all ships." I know a lot of people have said that in their streams, and it's a way that we can support each other while still working on ourselves. Like, just like
Right.
Calamity said, don't go into other streams just expecting to get more followers. Don't self promo in other streams. But what you can do is find someone that you're generally interested in watching, someone
Yep.
who maybe you want to learn from, who does something related to what you want to do. And go in there, support them, build that networking relationship without some kind of ulterior motive. And you're going to have a
Right.
great time in stream. They're going to enjoy you. And they'll want to
Right.
support you at a time that makes sense. So you
Right.
can really
Right.
help
And
grow each
and
other.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely. And I will say that don't get me wrong. I won't, I won't lie. Of course, if anyone here says that they are not trying to build their channel, they're not trying to get, they have certain milestone that they want X number of people on their stream, that's a lie. I know you do. We all do. Whether what those numbers are different from person to person. But, so what I'm saying is that a lot of times it is you will be surprised at what you're willing to do or what you learn if you just go in and help that other community out,
Mm-hmm.
and build and be a part of what it is that person is building, and eventually they all interconnect to one another, right? Eventually
Absolutely.
we're all on this in the same bus together,
Van?
and
The same van.
and I think that's what that's the goal, right? Because if everyone else is successful around you,
Mm-hmm.
most likely I can probably guarantee you will be too. So have a vested interest in the success in those that you believe in. So that to me has been something that I've done my entire career, because I understand that I'm not going to be good at everything. I've got a specific set of skills, but I also know that there are a lot of people out there that have amazing skills that are complementary to what
Mm-hmm.
it is that I do, and I cling myself to them like a barnacle, because I understand that they are, I have something that I could do to help them be better, and they have something that they can do to help me be better. And in the end, it is a beautiful, harmonious relationship,
Mm-hmm.
that will make both of us successful. So yeah, I think that's a mistake. I think I see a lot of folks um, potentially doing,
Mm-hmm.
but also an area that I think a lot of folks need to really think about.
Definitely. And I think this answers partially, is it, I think, Jagged Jan's question, what can makers and crafters do to increase their presence on Twitch? So this is definitely
Hmm.
one way, being genuinely involved in other communities and channels. Do you have any suggestions for other ways?
Um, Honestly, if there is nothing more supportive, in my opinion, than to just be available, as in another person's stream. If you can, like, I'm not saying every time, but I think that is, and I think anyone here might agree to that, is it's great when you have so much support that comes
Mm-hmm.
over to your stream that says hi. They don't have to stay the whole time, but that I think that is enough. Um, I don't believe that there has to be anything more above that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And maybe there is, something that you could do outside, but I think that's a bonus. That's a bonus if you could help them maybe set up something better, or you could provide them some sort of material that they could use. But it comes down to just being helping them grow their community. That is, for me, number. I don't think there's anything bigger or better than that, and as simple as that. Like, that's it.
Definitely.
That's all you need to do. Just be part of their community and help to build it.
And another thing people can do that can help, I guess, boost their visibility or grow their community is rating. And Stray Robotics wanted to know, should you rate up or down? Do you rate a partner, or do you help someone with less viewers than you? What are your thoughts on that?
I think so. Here's the thing. I think that everyone will always say you want to go and help out as many people as possible. I
Mm-hmm.
absolutely agree with that. But I also will say there could be. I don't know if I go by the hard and fast rule that every time I rate someone, it's got to be someone that is, that I feel we need to help them out. Absolutely, I want to help out everyone, but
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying that every time I rate, I'm going to go down and pick just X, Y, or Z. I think there is some benefit in rating up, and there's some benefit in rating down. In the end, what I will say is I don't like rating blind, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't like rating someone that I may not have ever checked out. I rarely do that. Um, and I think I learned a lot of that from Texas Hula in the past. So those are one of the lessons that I think I took away from hula on that. But in terms of the benefit of that, of course, we want to help out as many folks as possible. And then you also, again, you're combining communities, right? You're bringing your community over to their community.
Mm-hmm.
So the hope is that it grows from that. But I don't know if there's a hard and fast rule about it.
Right.
Never rate a partner because they already have all the views. Never. I think that's too limited. So, or always raid someone larger than you because you're hoping to build on that community. So I think I wouldn't limit myself on just always small, always big. I think it's dependent on what it is, who that person is. If you believe in wanting to get to know that community better,
Mm-hmm.
right? Are you invested in helping that community?
I agree completely. And for me, just like with you, I won't raid someone I don't know. I don't know what I'm getting myself into. That's not something I'm comfortable with. But whether it comes to rating someone who maybe has 2 viewers or someone who has closer to 100 viewers, it really depends for
Mm-hmm.
me on, is the content something that my viewers will enjoy if I send them over there? Is it someone that I'm friendly with that I want to support? And it's just
Yep.
seeing who's on at that time and what feels comfortable, for me at
Right.
least.
Right. Right. I don't think there's a hard or fast rule on that.
Mm-hmm. So how
At least for
else?
me.
Yeah, definitely. There's no hard or fast rule. I'm not going to say, okay, this is the person I know with the most followers. I'm going to raid them today. I don't have any sort of equation like that. And do you have any other ideas or suggestions for how streamers can work together, how we can help the community grow as a whole?
Absolutely. Um, uh, being bringing in others from outside, right? Um, what I found and what I'm always looking at is the core demographic or the core folks
Mm-hmm.
that hang out in the making and crafting community. We are one of the smaller ones. We have the smaller community in general. Like maybe there's some other small like ones, but in general,
Mm-hmm.
when you compare it to maybe the art section, I find that art, food and music, food and drink, we have a lot of similarities, right? In that, and also music. So we have a lot of similarities there. And of those categories, we are always on the lower end.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, it's about bringing in new folks, that there is that Venn diagram where there is a common interest that we can find between those categories that could help bring new folks in, but also bring folks in from the outside as well. Because I don't believe a lot of people know that Twitch even has like a making and crafting section, right? Everyone, when you think
Right.
about looking up a DIY thing or looking up some crafting, it's kind of a video. You want to
Mm-hmm.
go to a blog or you want to go to YouTube, you want to do things like that. But I think it's gotten better. But for me, I think that's, if we could help grow this community, we've got to bring in new people. With the amount of people we have now, that circle, makers and crafters, it will never become what it is that it can be and what it should be.
Mm-hmm.
So we need everyone that is part of it to be stewards of this category and to go out there and get folks to come in, get folks to be interested in whatever it is. It doesn't have to be a particular channel. It's just the category. Like there's something for everyone. But if
Mm-hmm.
you get them in, they will eventually find all these other things, and it will eventually get back to you. So bring them into the category, bring them into potentially what it is that we're doing. And that has been my biggest, one of my biggest goals, at least for the Twitch side, is to
Mm-hmm.
grow that piece. Is how do we do that? How do we get that? Is it just guerrilla marketing? Is it, how do we as a force combine and get some new folks in here? Get the visibility that makers and crafters that they absolutely deserve and should
Mm-hmm.
have.
Definitely. And is there anything that we as a community can do to support your ideas for that? Because this makes me think of when it comes to growing an individual channel, from what I've seen and from what I believe myself, the goal shouldn't be to take viewers from another channel. What you really want to do is bring more viewers to Twitch from other platforms. People who maybe don't watch live streaming, like you said, they don't know Twitch has a makers and crafters community. What can we do to help grow that?
Right now, the biggest thing is your stuff, your social network, right? Building that social network, and maybe just getting the word out there on what it is that you do on Twitch, and potentially if those folks are interested, then they'll start thinking and looking outside of your own channel. But yeah, that has been the toughest thing. If I had my dream, here's what I would do. If I had someone at Twitch that I could just put into the van. My biggest thing to that person or that entity or that group is that there needs to be some advertising, some marketing that is around the hey, these are the things that are available. Did you know that you could watch someone make this, or you can watch someone cook this, you can watch all these DJ channels? They have not been very good at that. So there's that piece of it that if I had my way, I would absolutely really focus on that with the Twitch piece. What the community can do is just talk about it. It's just, with your own network. And from there, go, switch. If you do trade shows, if you do anything like that, just promoting what you do on Twitch helps to promote all of us, right? Because they come to visit you, and eventually, potentially, they could go and visit some of us. But yeah, getting that out there is what I've been really trying to figure out how to do that. Partially, I will say that bringing together all these 88 streamers that are participating in the charity event. There's the back row goal of that is this, right? Like the main goal, of course, we are doing a good thing and we're trying to help these kids. But my hope is that this is a good way in which we can bring the community together with all like a common goal that we are, that we're marching towards, and that it helps to bring some awareness out there to what it is that we're doing in terms of the charity, but also that there's this group of awesome streamers from across all these different categories that are coming together under one umbrella, saying, hey, we want to help out, we want to do this, and it's a powerful message, right? So there was a part of me that in creating this and in trying to bring together all these folks to do this was to get that out and to help with that piece of it.
Yeah, and off stream I'll message you about some ideas I have for that. But yeah, the biggest thing that I see people recommending is have a YouTube channel and then you can drive traffic to Twitch, but that doesn't work for everyone. So maybe those of us it does work for can kind of do that. But otherwise, why not have your Twitch URL on your business card, like you said, if you do trade shows? Why not include it on your other social media accounts so people can see, oh, like if they don't know what Twitch is at all, oh, what's this? Click on it and see what's going on. They'll see that making and crafting is a part of the platform and hopefully build some more interest there.
Absolutely. Like that, I mean, that's a big goal, right? Like that is not something you build overnight. It's not something that we're going to be like, oh, hey, next month, look at that. We increased the number of folks that are watching Making and Crafting from 3,500 on average to, 10,000. That's a big effort that eventually we're going to need Twitch to step in and help with. But for what we can do is at least, always be sending the message out, always letting people know what it is that you're doing on Twitch, right? And I will say, I'm not very good at that either. I'm working on it. So of all the things, I probably lack that the most. So I'm saying it, but it is definitely something that I still need to work on quite a bit.
Right, and I can say the same for myself. I definitely need to promote what I'm doing more. And so just simple things like being more active on Twitter, making sure to post semi-regularly on Instagram. Those are things that can really help increase your visibility and something that can become a part of the routine. And I think that would be a good chat. Another future episode would be talking about social media platforms and how to make the best use of that, because you can really, I guess, be effective in your social media. I guess advertising, marketing, I'm not sure what the right term would be for it, but you can be very effective if you know the best ways to maneuver the platforms.
Right, right, right. I
Mm-hmm.
will say social media has been the bane of. I look. I had to do it for corporate America, but
Mm-hmm.
I never really was into my own personal social media either.
Mm-hmm.
So
Me
this has
neither.
been definitely a learning experience for me, and the power of social media is great. But I fight it a lot because I'm not. There's sometimes I'm just. So I get it. Like I that's probably the
Mm-hmm.
biggest, another like an area that I'm working on all the time. But
Right.
I'm not. I.
And when you're
It gives
your,
me heartburn.
oh my gosh, I agree completely. And when you're your own brand, there's that line between you as an individual, you as a streamer, a brand, whatever you want to be, and social media can seem so overwhelming. So I think it's one of those things where you have to learn how to be effective, schedule it into your day, and
Right,
not check it every 5 minutes. I know I can be guilty of
right,
that, of maybe turning off notifications or something. That's something to look into.
right. Because I mean, come on. Like first, I got to do Instagram, then I got to do Facebook, and then I got to tweet about it, and then I got to do now a fucking TikTok video on it.
Oh my
Jesus
gosh.
Christ,
There
yo,
are too many
it's a lot.
platforms. I think there are too
It is
many.
so much. It is so much. It
Hmm.
is. Yes, yeah, and I get it. If you are going to be robust, then yeah, for sure, you want to do all of that. But I tell you what, it's a lot.
Hmm.
Like so, yeah, I will. That's a part I'm really weak on. So
Hmm.
I'm working on that. But
It is a lot, and for most of us, you're one person, maybe two, if you have a partner or a business partner that you work with. There's only so much you can do with your time and your energy, but that with so many social media platforms, it seems pretty impossible at
Mhm.
times to do it all perfectly, and maybe it is
Right,
impossible, but you just have to do your best.
right, right.
Hmm.
Absolutely. I wish I could get someone to just manage that whole piece.
You could.
I would love to one day.
Well, maybe down the road you can have a social media
I
manager.
know. God, I would. God, I never thought that would be like my first hire would be a social media person,
Hmm.
but this whole experience, this whole adventure has definitely um, changed that opinion.
Hmm.
Like I definitely would be that role is so important,
Hmm.
so important.
I think some people in the corporate world think, oh, social media, you just post a thing. But no, there's so much to learn about it. And like I said, we
Oh
can have
God,
another chat on it about when do you post? What do you post? How often do you
yep,
post? What words do you use? What
exactly.
links? It's a lot. And
It's a
definitely
lot,
something I know I
and
can
I
do
even have a
better.
sister that works for Facebook, and
Oh
I
my gosh.
still am like, ugh.
It is a lot.
Mhm.
So I think we're getting close to that 2 hour mark, and that's what I was hoping to hit. So this has been fantastic. Do you have any other ideas for people who are going to be viewing in the future, of what they can do right now to help improve how they present themselves as a brand?
Man, I'm gonna sound like a broken record.
That means it's true,
But
though.
honestly, it's consistency, booze. Just be consistent
Hmm.
with your schedule, with your name, with what it is that that you're that who it is that you are that you put out there. That's what you want to do. Just be consistent. I don't outside of that as like the top tier message. Um, you know, I think is most important personally for you,
Hmm.
right? And I think that also is important for not just being on Twitch, but in general, because I know that when I was working full time, for me, um, I was very aware about how I how what it is that I did for my company or what it is that I did for my team, whatever that was, how I projected, like what do I want folks to when they think about me or when they need me for to help out in an X, Y, or Z project, are they going to reach out to me?
Hmm.
What is it that they look to me for? Um, and so that all comes down to how you are your best PR agent. No one's going to be better at letting other folks know what makes you who you are, what you bring to the table. So you need to be good about um, um, being your best agent, right? Because unless you actually have a PR group that does it for you, um, you are the controller of that.
Right.
So I have been that's one of the biggest things that I learned in my career over the years is that I was a really good PR agent for myself, but I also was able to back that up with what it is that I brought to the team, right? Um, and so another thing I will say, and I don't think I touched on this yet, is being a good team member.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, stream is yours, right? Like Calamity Cat, when I go on from Monday to Friday, 3 to 7, that's me. That's my stream during that time. That is my show. But being a good team member within the entire making and crafting community is another area that, just like what I said in terms of being available or being, helping to another streamer grow their community, being a good steward of their community on top of yours, that's what I mean in terms of teamwork, right? Because if we look at it that way, we're on this big team together.
Mm-hmm.
So how can we be better team members for each other? Um, Fun fact: I did earn the Team Member of the Year award for my company one year. Um, Fun fact. So, so I was very big on that, and not just like a rah, like fist pumping. We're awesome, but again, just being available, being able to help others out, but genuinely about it.
Mm-hmm.
Because knowing that you help them, it's going to help you, but not going in, just to be just trying to get something out of it for yourself, right? So I think those are some good key points that I don't know if I've ever really been big on saying on stream, but that I try to be good about,
Mm-hmm.
that I try to do. So we joke a lot on my stream because I love to joke, but it is true. Like I do greatly enjoy helping out others, and if there is anything that anyone ever wants help on or needs help on that is about marketing, branding, your stream, whatever it is, or you just whatever, I am 100% would love to help you out, and I do it for corporations, but I find way more enjoyment doing it for people and helping them, be better or kind of refine what it is that they want to do.
Mm-hmm.
So I will throw that out there to any one of you guys.
That is so kind of you. And I hope I've made that message clear for everyone from me as well that if there's anything I can do to help you, to support you, you can reach out to me with anything, for anything. I think I'm probably most responsive on Discord, but if you don't have my username, you can message me on Twitch, you can message me on Instagram. Twitter, I don't know how, if you can DM unless you're following each other. I don't know how that works, but I'll see it. I'll see it.
Yeah.
We'll get in touch. You will find me. And even though this episode is coming to a close, I do want to remind everyone that I have a channel on my Discord where it's titled, I have one for just creators in general, I have one for the creator chat stream, where feel free to pop in there and continue the conversation. I know I'll be in there with links to the books that we talked about, some of the tips that we talked about, things like that. And we can continue talking about this topic even though we won't be chatting about it on stream. And another thing, I wanted to make sure that Calamity had a chance to talk about her Stream Heroes charity giant stream event for Starlight
Yeah.
because
So
just make
yeah,
sure you can talk about that.
it has gotten out of control.
It's
Like
giant.
okay, the goal was 50, right? I'm gonna lie. I would be lying to you if I didn't want to. I already knew going in that I would want more than 50, but
Mm-hmm.
we are at 88 total
Amazing.
streamers that are participating. Of the 88, we are only missing schedules from 5, which I feel is phenomenal considering the herding of cats that had to have been done by DJ and by Black Apple and by you, Momo. Like it's been herding cats. But I'm pretty excited about it. So we kick off next Friday, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we have a jam-packed schedule. I currently working now on finalizing all of the different raid trains that we have. Also, the giveaways and prizes that are coming through. We have some amazing prizes that people are donating, like Abby Fabby, the Feathered Phoenix, Sasaki Woodworks. It is incredible, some of the stuff that is being put out there to be donated to get money for these kids. So I'm working on a strategy on how we do that, and how we help to get those out there, and to help raise and fundraise for these kids. So I will say I'm very appreciative that all of you guys that are participating could and are. You guys have blown me away. I was joking that I was trying to get to 100 streamers, but
it could happen.
So it's crazy. So I hope that this is one of many community efforts and events that we end up doing together, because this is kind of what I like, is to bring people, a big group of people together to kind of execute on specific different things. So I hope that this is one of many. Not like every month, because I think DJ and Blackwell would kill me. But I hope that this is, maybe something cool that we can say that we do together every once in a while.
Definitely. And I think I'm speaking for more than just myself when I say thank you for organizing that, and thank you for the energy and the passion that you bring to everything that you do. No, I'm being serious. To your channel, I know when I go into a Calamity Cat stream, I'm going to have a good time. And I know that my day is going to get better, and I'm going to have a smile on my face the whole entire time. And no one will tell me to blink twice if I'm okay. Because, like you said, consistency. Your channel is consistently fun and amazing.
Yeah.
And that is fantastic. Yeah. And we all appreciate that.
Well, I am, this ride has been incredible. It's been crazy. I really am. If you guys, we've been joking about Calamity Con 2021 or 2022, but if you don't think that I'm already, I haven't already thought about it,
please let it happen.
You apparently have not been hanging around with me.
I need to have my booth with snacks.
I would love to.
It will be amazing.
Yes, yes. You could be in charge of all the snacks.
Yes. That would be fantastic. And I have two things I want to mention before we close. The first is that charity pin sales for the holiday gift exchange that I'm doing, they are going to be open through about the middle of December. We need to reach 50 pins pre-ordered in order to have them made. And all of the, multitasking. I know my commands. All of the profits will go to Artist Relief, which is helping artists who have been negatively affected by the COVID pandemic. So that's something I think would be really beneficial to the community. And if you're able to pre-order a pin, maybe a gift for someone else, for yourself, that would be fantastic. And the second thing I wanted to mention is that it's just me. I have officially started my YouTube channel. We've talked about the importance of YouTube and how it can draw viewers to Twitch and just the content that you can create there. And it's totally empty. I'm going to hopefully be able to upload this video. I don't know if I can since the recording was weird. But if you could, drop a like, hit that subscribe button. Wait, what do people say? Smash that subscribe button and hit that bell. I promise I will never end videos like that. I promise. But if you feel so inclined to sub to the channel, that would be awesome. Because that's something in the future I do want to grow and help people with as I learn how to do it. So I think...
Momo, I just thought about this, but for those pins, for anyone that will support that, I'll give you guys an extra entry into the Cricut Maker giveaway that I'm doing.
That is so generous, Calamity. Thank you.
Yeah, so just give me the list of folks that have already supported and that will support, and I'll add them as extra entries into the Cricut Maker giveaway.
That is very generous. Thank you. So I think it's time for us to rate a channel. Calamity, would you do the honors of choosing?
Shoot. Let's see. Who do we have on?
Yeah, I don't even know who's on right now. Let's find out.
Yeah. There's a number of people. We got Boyd, always a fan favorite. Um, oh, I've got Larry, Craft Bories, Jexy. Man, lots of people on tonight. What is today? Saturday?
I don't know. It's Saturday. It's Small Business
I
Saturday.
think it's Saturday, right?
Yeah. Oh, and thank you so much, everyone. Thank you for being
I have
here.
recently rated both Craft Bories and Larry recently.
Sauce is
God,
on. Who
yeah,
else?
but Sauce I think is closing up right now. He normally is. Yeah, I think he's in his wind down right now.
You know what?
So I would say.
Let's see. Who else?
Oh, Boyd is finished for the day too. Yeah, Boyd is done for the day.
Okay.
Jexy thing I know is on. White Wolf, thanks for that sub to Momo Blue.
Yes, I'm sorry to everyone. I haven't been calling out the subs and the follows because I wanted to make this video like usable for YouTube if possible, but
Right.
let me scroll through that right now and make sure everyone knows that I appreciate White Wolf, the sub, Sassy Gal, thank you for the follow, and Thickapino for the sub, ND Cosplay for the follow, all the hosts, Calamity, Lettuce, White Wolf, thank you so much. And Triple the Kitten, thank you for the follow. It has been an amazing time getting to know you all and having a really good chat. It's been fantastic.
Is going to be for Larry Dictionary. She's a brand new streamer, just got affiliate, so I know that I just recently rated her, but I don't know if you have. I think that would be one of my votes. I would have said Boyd, but it sounds like Boyd is closing up.
I don't think he's on anymore.
As well.
And Bad Dad, thank you for the subscription. I appreciate it. A sub. I say it that way because I'm fancy. Thanks for the sub. I don't know Simply Pickles.
Yeah, like I think McCoy said, Simply Pickles. Yeah, I know. Yeah, absolutely. I think Simply Pickles is on as well. So there's Simply Pickles, Larry, Craft Bories, Jexy thing. At least on my list, there's like a number of folks. I always like. I'm not gonna lie to you guys. Every time this happens, I get very like sweats as well. So I try to spread it out, but so I will say one of those maybe.
Okay,
I can put it back on you.
I'll choose from there. You mentioned Larry Dictionary. I think I've seen them in chat, so it feels like not a completely random raid.
Right, and then she's also participating. She's one of the 88 streamers that is part of this. Stream Heroes.
Yes.
So.
Okay, that is what is happening. Everyone, thank you so much, Calamity Cat. Linda, listen, Linda.
No, listen!
Listen. Thank you. This has been absolutely amazing. No, I will not leave you alone after this. We're still going to chat. But again, thank you so much for everything. And if you are a sub, I got some adorably angry raid emotes that you could use, or if you have your own or from other people, get those ready. Okay, so is it Lari Dictionary?
Yes,
Let me
and then with
you.
an I though. The dictionary also ends with an I.
That is good to know. Okay, so hopefully this goes through.
And
okay, I think it's happening.
Momo, thank you for putting this together. I think this is awesome.
Thanks.
I think this is super fun. You and Laser Geek putting together things like this is so great, for the community. So I am honored to have had a chance to pontificate randomly on all sorts of things.
Thank you. And you'll be on Laser Geek's podcast soon, right?
I'm on Laser Geek's podcast this coming Thursday, right before the kickoff of the Stream Heroes.
Oh, perfect.
Yes.
I'm looking forward to that. And thank you again, and I'm about to send us over to Larry Dictionary. See you all next time.